everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a fabulous Sunday. Welcome back to the garden for another chicken and garden update. And I'm here at the apple tree that I'm slightly worried about. There's so many fruit on this apple tree now that this branch is bent over in a U shape. I'm filming this the Wednesday before we publish it, so I hope that was me standing on a twig, not me breaking the tree. I hope that by the time this is published, my wife has had some spare time from her very busy work week and she's actually helped me make a support, because otherwise we may lose this branch and the fruit. But look at the fruit. They are looking amazing. They are huge. They are growing amazingly quickly. Another couple of weeks and they will soon be ready to eat. And I cannot wait, because fruit trees are awesome and apples are awesome. I like eating apples, they're very good for me. And we've got some more over here. There'll be lots of apple butter being made this year. The dogs are doing great. They are running around. So if I call to a dog, you'll know why. I have a very funny story to tell you in a second that revolves around gophers. But first, let's check out our planters here. So this is last year's parsnips that are still growing and doing amazingly well. We've got some rocket here that's doing amazingly well. Some of it's going to seed, but I had some earlier and it tastes amazing, and I'm hopeful that this rocket is going to be just perfect for Thanksgiving next week. We've also got some regular old butter style lettuce of different varieties here. This one again survived the winter and it's looking amazing, and I just take a leaf every now and then as opposed to taking the whole thing, and it allows the whole plant to grow. But look here, we have another volunteer potato. I don't know what it is with potatoes in this garden, but they keep coming. So we're just going to have lots of potatoes this year, I guess. Lots and lots of potatoes. The parsnips are continue to grow. They are now at kind of halfway up my tummy height. Same with these raggedy potatoes that are self-seeded from last year, and the parsnips in this one. I haven't taken any parsnips out yet because they're not ready, but I have had some potatoes, and that is because the potatoes are growing amazingly, and I had the first potatoes of the season. I had some of my blue salad potatoes. They are looking amazing, and I just basically put my hand down into the soil and kind of feel around a bit until I feel a potato, and then I picked some up. But I'm not going to try and harvest too many potatoes from here because I want to have a good crop. So I'm going to wait until all of these leaves die off, and that's when I know that the potatoes will be ready to harvest. I might have a few new potatoes, but other than that, I'm going to leave them alone. These potatoes over here, they're still growing really super slowly, and I feel like I failed these potatoes this year, but I'm just letting them do their thing and grow at their own speed, because I've learned that potatoes are very resilient. I think I might have some yellowing down there that I do not want, so I'm going to get rid of those. But you know, the soil is nice and wet, hopefully not too moist. That might be causing some issues, so I'm hoping that I didn't kill these ones. If I did, it's okay, because I have stupidly large numbers of potatoes here. And you know, if you consider the size of these tubs, they're huge, right? So I'm going to have far more potatoes this year from these tubs than I did from those potatoes from last year. So I can't really complain too much. Coming next week for the chicken and garden update, because we're actually taking the week off for July 4th. I'll actually do a video talking about our automatic watering system, because that is one of the waterers there. We have a drip irrigation system over there, which is very, very good. And then if we walk back towards the house, you'll note that we also have my mum calls these a swisher. They're actually impact sprinklers. So we have plenty of ways of making sure that everything is properly watered without overwatering, without wasting water. And it's allowed the borders at the front of my garden to look amazing. It's allowed everything else to look really amazing. And it's just given me really lovely, positive vibes. I want to show you Paula Jane, one of my fuchsias. That's what it's called, Paula Jane. We put the fuchsias into terracotta pots, and they are a lot happier. We also did the same with the abutilon that sits by my front door. And we even put in some hanging baskets. In fact, let me go this way and show you. The standard rose that I inherited from Erin last year is doing amazingly well. It is right here. It is beautiful, and I cannot describe how beautifully it smells. The sunflowers, again, they're now kind of nearly at boob height in some places. So the sunflowers are doing great, and everything else is doing great here. And this just looks lovely and amazing and beautiful. But check out our hanging baskets. These are hanging baskets that we made last weekend, and I just water them manually, and they are coming on amazingly. They look like they've been here for a really long time, but we've got some fresh growth, and the bees are loving them, and other insects are loving them. And I'm sorry, Mr. Spider, I just destroyed your spider web between the abutilon, which was also repotted, and the hanging baskets. But let's go this way, because there's some really awesome things going on in the garden. And one of the things I want to obviously tell you about is the fact that we are really enjoying the fruits of our labour at this time of the year. We're really starting to see the vegetable garden especially producing fruit and vegetables. The thumbnail for this video shows strawberries, and I've eaten probably 3 or 4 batches of strawberries this year, and they're all really lovely. And I say 3 or 4 batches of strawberries. What I mean is I'll have 3 or 4 strawberries, and then we have to wait a bit for more strawberries to come up, and then we have more strawberries. I also had some of that heading broccoli that I told you about last week. You can see where I cut it off. And already these other broccoli florets are coming up, and these guys are doing incredibly well. Having that irrigation really helps. It provides predictable watering, and it allows them to really kind of do amazing things. So the other night what we had a potato broccoli frittata using some of the eggs we have. We have way too many eggs at this time of year. So we had some broccoli, basically about a cup of broccoli. And then I used one of these scapes from my leeks. So you can't eat the leeks anymore because the centre of them have gone hard. You can actually take one of these and chop it up, open it up, chop it up, and use the flowers inside here. And it gives it a really nice oniony leeky taste. You can eat it. We did that with some of the fresh rosemary that we cut from this rosemary bush. Combine that with a bit of sage from just over there. We had a really lovely meal. I want to show you the peas though. Look at these. I actually had one of these peas earlier today, some of these pea pods. Staking them up, encouraging them to grow upwards was our biggest success this year. In past years, I've not managed to stake my peas very well. But just encouraging them to grow up this vine or this climbing structure has really increased the amount of airflow that the peas get. It's increased the likelihood that the flowers actually produce peas. And look at all these peas that are growing here right now. These are shelling peas, but you can actually eat these shelling peas as petit pois at this time of year. You can just kind of cut them and eat them. And I think that's probably what I'm going to do tonight, because I'm going to be cooking tonight. So I'll probably come and help myself to some of these peas. Again, things are going great here with the volunteer. I think these are volunteer broccoli. I'm just going to call it. I think these are volunteer broccoli. They don't look like sprouts. You can see they have a slightly different, these are the sprouts here. They have slightly different leaves. These are the sprouts that I have never successfully grown before, and they are doing okay. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm just going to ignore them basically and hope that they grow up and they grow as they ought. We have no blueberries yet, although we are getting close. If you look, the blueberries on there are green, so I can't eat them yet, but they will turn blue at some point, and then we'll be able to have some blueberry. We don't have enough blueberries to make like blueberry jam or anything, but we have enough to have some nice snacking blueberries here and there. My courgettes or zucchinis are very close to flowering. None are flowering yet, but I think it will not be long. And funnily enough, some of my squashes have decided to grow upwards. I do not know why. What's up there, Ghost? What have you got? What did you find? So I promised you a story about Mr. Ghost and the gophers. So a couple of days ago now, I had to do the live stream, the Transport Evolved live stream for the month. And so I went outside with the dogs before I did that because I was on my own that day. I wanted to make sure that Ghost and Sky had a good run. River doesn't care really, she's an old lady, she just chills most of the time. But I wanted to make sure the other dogs were not too stressed out by me kind of live streaming. And so I went out with them and we were playing fetch. And I threw a ball and the ball landed, I kid you not, in a freshly dug gopher hole. So Ghost was very upset about it and he made upset dog noises. So, by the way, strawberries. So we went inside, but before I went inside, I used his ball thrower and I went down into the hole to the end of the handle of the ball thrower to see if I could reach the ball, and I couldn't reach it. I just kept pulling back soil. So I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, Ghost. I think your ball is gone. I don't think you're ever going to get it back. So we went back inside. I did the filming, and then I came back outside, and I was like, maybe I could just see if I can get that ball again. So I got the ball thrower, and I went down to see if I could reach the ball. And to my surprise, the hole had been blocked up. So I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, Ghost. It looks like the gophers come in and they've blocked up the hole, and that's pretty much it. You're not going to be able to get your ball back. And then I realised that the gophers had blocked the hole. You're not going to believe this. They had blocked the hole with his ball and a load of soil. So somehow the gophers had managed to not only block up their tunnel again, but they'd used the ball to seal it with soil behind it, and they'd pushed it right to the top, to the surface. And so not only did Ghost get his ball back, but the gopher resealed the hole. And I have never seen anything like that before in my life. But hey, I think that's super cool. These are some of the strawberries we've got. I will enjoy those in a minute. My dogs are enjoying chicken poo again, but let's finish off today's video. Mr. Ghost, where are you? Ghost! Let's finish off the video by coming into the greenhouse because things are growing really quickly here. I have my tomatillos. Let's just drop strawberries into the soil. That would be a good thing to do. Let's put my strawberries right there. So these tomatillos are growing incredibly well. We've got this one here is nearly there. I can see the tomatillo growing underneath. We've got some more tomatillos growing there. And most of the tomato plants now have flowers on them. And some of them have fruit. There's a few tomatoes that haven't got flowers on yet. So this one here doesn't have any flowers on. And this middle one here doesn't have any flowers on. But most of them are now growing and they have a decent amount of flowers, and some have fruit growing on them. So I think I showed you these last week. They are coming on nicely. These over here, these stew peas, are doing incredibly well. They're growing nicely. So another couple of weeks and we're going to have some tomatoes. If we look over here, the cucumbers are finally starting to get the message that maybe it would be a good idea to start growing. The same is true for the melons and the watermelons. This is the first time I've grown watermelons, so I'm not going to get too upset with myself if I don't do well here. And it's the first time I've grown anything really in this greenhouse. So again, I'm going to try not to be too hard with myself. But there you have it. That is everything that's going on right now. There's a bug or a spider or something hanging on my glasses, which is fairly common in a greenhouse. Anyway, that is it for today's chicken and garden update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are growing something in your garden, tell me about it in the comments below, because I love to hear about everything that you are doing. If you have comments, leave them below. You can leave them in the Discord chat room. You can reach out to us on Mastodon, or you can reach out to us in the Patreon special Patreon page if you are a Patreon member. If you want more, subscribe, hit the bell and follow the links below to regularly support us with a YouTube membership or a Patreon subscription. You'll also find links to our Ko-fi, Bitcoin and Swag store, as well as that aforementioned Mastodon server. Scrolling on my right is a list of amazing charged up supporters, and shout outs go out to our V2G Patreon supporters. They are Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Alan Topper, Andrew Martin, Bennett Elder, Brophy Wolf, Chris Maxwell, Cyprian Laplace, Dan Blair, Gordon C, Hey Esker, John Tramal, Carl Fox, Mark Eggleton, Peter Dillinger, Regine Fellows, Sean Tucker, Stefan Fremgen, Stephen Williams, Tazlet in the Gong, Paul Bricknell, Tony Moss, Carl Hodgson, Chris Asentar, Denny Hyde, Lance Schlull, Linda Irish, Mike Reeder and Paul Nelson. And finally, big thanks to our off-grid supporters, Paul Conway, Kevin Boroughbridge, Stephen O'Donoghue, Jim Burness, Robert Flannery, Aaron Hahn, Ellery Hensley, Rory Litwin, JP Fagerback, Dave Kitchen, Andrew Glenn, Anonymous Freak, Chris and Michael Johnson, Clay Witt, CPU Freak 101, Eric Knack, Joe Bresney, John Henderson, Laura Reynolds, Marcel Ward, Matthew Drobnak, Nigel S, Reggie Watts, Will Graylin and of course Ian. Don't forget that we produce content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday on the main channel, a day earlier if you are a Patreon supporter or a YouTube channel member, and then on a Sunday you can come and see me sweating in a greenhouse in the Chicken and Garden Update, which is what I'm doing right now. Or you can join me for the Sunday musing, where I tend not to be sweating in a greenhouse. Anyway, whatever you enjoy next, I hope that you enjoy your long weekend. If you are having one, if you are celebrating July 4th, I hope you are having a lovely time. Do be careful if you're setting off fireworks. Make sure that there are no animals nearby, because it's not kind to them. Or people, in fact, with long QT like me, who can literally die if they are given the right kind of sudden shock. Anyway, enjoy whatever you're doing next. Have a great weekend. And as always, keep evolving.